see how many people hop in tonight. As usual, I don't have a set schedule, so it's whenever I get a free moment I can share my thoughts with the little black box. What's up, Feline? Hey man, what the hell's going on with that Shlomo dude? What's going on with that billionaire from Israel, Shlomo, that tech guy, talking about we need to destroy free speech here in the United States in order to save it? Can somebody explain that to me? Because normally I got your guys' back, right? Because if we have an ally in the Middle East, it's been Israel. But this Shlomo clown, he ain't it, bro. I don't know what to say about that. Shlomo ain't it. What the fuck is that all about? You got some fucking foreign billionaire talking shit about our Bill of Rights here in the United States. That threw me for a loop. Absolutely threw me for a loop. Exactly what I said. He said we need to destroy free speech in order to save it. And he's talking about free speech online. I'm on my phone. I'm not on my laptop, so I can't share the clip. I saw him on RJ Talks. He had the video up today. Yeah, the guy was being interviewed, I think, by CNN. And this, like, I don't know his last name. I just remember it's Shlomo, some tech billionaire out of Israel that has evidently a lot of tech contracts here with the United States and Israel. And he's talking about we need to destroy free speech in order to save it. And I'm like, bro, you're playing with fire right now. What's up, Brian? Yeah, I just could not believe that shit. I just going through some of the news I saw this week, man. It's been crazy. The Shlomo billionaire out of Israel is talking shit about limiting our free speech online, or in general. And that's fucking crazy. And then you have an actual communist grabbing power. If not only a communist, but a goddamn Muslim communist that happens to be Indian. An Indian that was born in fucking Uganda and then fucking wormed his way to the United States. He's not even a real American. And he's elected the fucking mayor of our largest city. I'm like, and then he gets, mind you, New York City, the city of 9/11, the Twin Towers, all that shit. Muslim terrorists flying their fucking planes and destroying our city. They elect a Muslim mayor, gets sworn in on the fucking Quran, and then he had the fucking audacity in his speech saying that it's time to end American rugged individualism and replace it with the warm embrace of collectivism. I never heard anything more un-American in my life. I'm sorry, New York City, you get what you get. You fucking deserve this guy. And this is what happens when you have unfettered mass migration. Because evidently he got enough of his own fucking kin, his own ilk, enough Mohammedans to go in there and fucking vote for his ass. Not because they like his policies, but because he's Muslim. Because they vote on identity politics, but apparently everyone could do it. Everyone could do it but white people, evidently. That's the state of America right now. And unfortunately, this attitude is going to cause a lot of people to radicalize like that. Because people have had enough of this bullshit. Yeah. I know. Yeah, he is shit. Democratic socialism. What a bull of fucking malarkey. There's a bunch of fucking political fucking midwits out there. Don't even know what it is. Oh, I'm going to take communism and then I'm going to revamp the iconography and put a little fucking rose on there with a fist. Right? A little rose with a fist to make it more I don't know, softer, right? We'll make it softer communism. Because a hammer and a sickle, that's a little hard edge, right? Blunt force and a sharp object. It's a little on the nose. We'll put a little rose for democratic socialism. And then these fucking brainlets compare democratic socialism to Scandinavia, which happen to be social democracies. Completely different animal. Completely different animal. Social democracies is just capitalism with a large welfare state. Right? That's what social democracy is. Democratic socialism is just socialism that you vote in, a la Venezuela with Hugo Chavez. That's democratic socialism. It's still fucking socialism. And it's evil. It's an evil ideology. Socialism was the true villain of the 20th century. They're not. All right, whatever. I was hoping they were going to block out the truck noise. I don't think. Hold on. Okay, it's connected on my phone. I guess it's just not going to connect to the YouTube app for some reason. What's up, Tyrannus? Hey, Happy New Year, Dickhead. Yep, I saw you. I know, Brian. I know. It's just so much shit going on, man. And you're right. This is the Cloward Piven. This is Cloward Piven to the T. Overload the system. You overload the system, you bring the system down. If we allow it. Right? If we allow it. All we have to say is, no, you're not doing this. All we have to do is put our fucking foot down and say, nope. We know what the strategy is. We're not going to allow it. Don't care. You don't get to take our society down with our own rules. It's for us, not you. Fuck you. We're getting rid of your asses. We're purging the fucking Marxists. We're going to get right with the Constitution to save our republic. Because if we don't do those things, as drastic as they may be, we are going to lose the republic. Yeah, well, I've got trucks right here in the fuel aisle, so but I wanted to be outside for a change. I hate sitting in the truck all the time. Well, I mean, it's the truth. It's the 100% truth. We are about to go the way of Rome. Except we have our foot on the accelerator because of the technological advances we've had since Rome and social media. But we are running off that cliff. Rome lost the republic. Republics, they failed over time because of foreign influence and decadence and corruption from within. And then a strong man has to come in and clean the shit up. What do you think happened to Germany? What do you think happened to Germany? What do you think happened to Italy? Why do you think Mussolini and Hitler took control? Why do you think Stalin and Lenin were able to take Russian control from the Tsar over in Russia? I know Russia was technically a monarchy and not a republic, but it's the same difference. Corruption and decadence from within. Dude, we are balkanizing like crazy. But yeah. Why do you think the AfD is taking control over in Germany right now? They're fighting like crazy to keep them out. Just like France did their little shenanigans keeping Marine Le Pen's party from taking control of France. Even though Le Pen's party is actually the true majority, they just don't have enough to make a coalition government. So Macron and the leftoids and some other French faggots were able to keep control away from Le Pen's party. Even though if Le Pen was actually in charge, like she should be, France would be much better off. Same thing with Germany. They're trying to do the same thing. It's that parliamentary system. It's fucking gay. I'm glad we don't have it. Truthfully, I'm glad we don't have that system. Orlay, yeah. Well, I mean, They seriously need a snap election in the UK right now because Starmer is not. Starmer was and the Labour Party were only elected because people were pissed off at the Tories, because the Tories were given Brexit, because the Tories are supposed to be the conservatives over in the UK, and the people specifically voted for Brexit because they wanted sovereignty over their own nation, up to and including and especially immigration. You know, you have at one point the world's premier naval power that owned a quarter of the fucking planet, where the sun never set on the empire, and now they can't stop fucking rubber dinghies launching from Calais, France, landing on the British shores. How fucking pathetic is that? And the Tories allowed it to happen, so the people revolted against the Tories. And what happens when you do that? You allow Labour to take control. And Labour doubled down on stupid. So, the closest thing you guys got to a Trump over there is Nigel Farage, and with his Reform Party. And I hope he wins. I don't know if he's going to go hard enough, because Farage, you know, he was the architect of Brexit. He's still kind of a pussy. I don't think he's got it in him to do what needs to be done to right the country. This is my opinion, you know, from over here across the pond or whatever. I hope I'm wrong. I hate to see my British cousins going down in a ball of flames and devolving into Sharia law in fucking 30 years. And can I ask you Brits, you got any Brits in here? What the fuck is the point of having a state-sponsored religion of the Church of England? And you have the defender of the faith, your king, and he won't fucking defend the faith? And you allow Islam to take control over your country when you're clearly a Christian country? What the hell is the point of having a state-sponsored religion if you don't defend it and allow yourselves to be supplanted in your own goddamn country? What's the point of it? Yeah. No, I would not want Muhammad because I don't want to name myself after a fucking pedophile. Sorry, not sorry. It's ridiculous. We're allowing a third world religion. They literally worship a pedophile. A bloodthirsty warlord pedophile. Verified. I'm not making that shit up. It's not alleged. He is. It's written in the goddamn holy book. That motherfucker married a 6-year-old and fucked her when she was 9 to consummate the marriage, alright? He fucked a 9-year-old, prepubescent, full-on, in-your-face pedophile. I'm tired of it. It's completely anathema to the American way of life, values, and ethics. It's polar opposite. You know, over here, our women have rights. They're not treated like chattel. They're not forced to wear ridiculous religious costumes through threat of violence and up to and including death. That's why I'm so glad what's happening in Iran's happening in Iran, because I grew up with kids, and their father he fled Iran when the Shah took over Iran. I mean, when the Shah fell in Iran and Ayatollah took over. And lovely people, great family, a lot of good memories with them. Dude had one of the best Mexican restaurants in town. True story. An Iranian owned a Mexican restaurant, and a guy from the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, was a cook. Best Mexican food in town. And he also gave me my first job. I was there as a dishwasher. And I was glad to have it, right? I was a teenager. I put a little jingle in my pocket so I could pay for gas money and whatnot. Unfortunately, the son, he fucked off to California. He married the valedictorian of the school I was at, and then she became a lawyer. He did other shit, and then they fucked off to San Francisco and became a uber liberal. So I mean, that's a shame, but it is what it is. He's living a good life, I guess. He's just politically retarded. It what? Same with Turkey. The same thing with Turkey. No, that never gets talked about either. That never gets talked about either. Turkey was very cosmopolitan and open society. And then they started devolving into Islam. I mean, it became, they kept flirting with the idea of becoming a caliphate because they wanted to reconstitute the old Ottoman Empire. Never going to happen, but whatever. Are you doing any core exercises? When I'm at the gym, yeah. I use my resistance band when I'm in the truck, but yeah. Yeah, when I go home and I go to the gym, I do the full circuit. I was talking to a friend of mine. It's like the gym is you have to be into S&M to go to the gym because it's literally a place you gladly pay to go kick your own ass. You got to have a little bit of an S&M streak to go there, especially when you're 50. Amanda, or do you mean Ahmed? Look, man. They're going to try to kill us with that. The whole outbreeding strategy is well documented. It's on purpose. They treat their women like chattel. They bring them over here. They have their 3 wives, and they just start pumping out kids. And then we subsidize them as taxpayers because they get on welfare. Look what's going on with the Somalis right now. 89% of Somali immigrants here are on welfare of one type or another. 89%. That is outrageous. That's on top of the fraud they have going on with their businesses right now, with the daycares and other bullshit and healthcare services. They're doing all of that. We're paying them to live in their own houses, really nice houses, with really nice cars, and they're getting food stamps and Section 8, and they're getting all the benefits, Medicaid, all that shit. Meanwhile, they're shoveling out millions of dollars to these motherfuckers, tax-free, and it's all of them on the taxpayer's dime. Well, meanwhile, you and I are out here kicking our ass, trying to burn the candle at both ends to make everything keep going, right? But then you get socialist fuckheads like Walls and this other dickhead over like in Washington State, and God forbid, the final boss hasn't arrived yet. Fraud. Wait till these investigative reporters go into California. Wait till that news starts dropping. Yeah, we haven't got to the final boss stage yet. Right now they're dicking around in Minnesota, Ohio, Washington State. But I'm telling you, when all these investigative people start showing up in California looking at this shit and all the fraud going on there, because how generous they are with their benefits, oh my God. I mean, you're talking about $9 billion in Minnesota. Minnesota, $9 billion at least, minimum. Dude, I mean, it's all of us. It's all of us, yeah. We're out here looking at the gas prices, like, oh, we're going to fill up the tank, or we're going to buy groceries. Meanwhile, you got socialist governors like Walls just lavishing them with funds from the taxpayer large ass, all because he wants to bring more in because they vote Democrat and they contribute to their campaigns. Straight up. It is a Ponzi scheme of epic proportion, and Walls and his officials are being called to task in Washington next week, I believe. He is being summoned to appear before Congress, probably under oath. And the man should not be leaving D.C. He should be cuffed right there right there in front of Congress, and then sent to jail for sedition. That's what should happen. They are literally the enemy within. The socialists. They have got to be curtailed. They must be stopped. There'll be a showdown of George between Newsom and Trump. I'm telling you, man. These Democrats are the neo-Confederates. They need to be treated like the rebels they are, and we know how to deal with rebels. We've done this before. We've done this before. Rope is cheap. I'm not even kidding. Don't care. Don't like it. Some of these other people coming in from these liberal sites don't like me hearing saying it. They're traitors. They're fucking traitors to our nation. They're destroying us from within. We don't have to allow it to happen. We have the fucking laws in our books. History is on our side. The laws are on our side. The Constitution is on our side. You guys are one out of pocket. You're the ones out here threatening violence in the streets when you don't do what you want. Tough shit. Tough shit. You're on the wrong side of history. String you motherfuckers up like it's the Nuremberg trials, as you fucking damn well deserve. Damn well fucking deserve. Seriously. Yeah, why come out here and bust my ass? I can defraud the government and my fellow Americans. Yeah, that's great. Let's do that. Let's all just become a low-trust society and just go out here and just fleece each other so we can also devolve into a third world shithole. Right? Because that's what's happening. That's how you develop a low-trust society. It doesn't take long, right? You get one guy, it's like, oh, he's just a sucker. He ain't breaking the rules. He's leaving himself wide open. I'm just going to get my bag and go. I know. I know, Lisa, and they got to be curtailed. I mean, it's just now that Europe is getting their shit together, right? You have a few patriots in France, of all places, in Germany, which is about fucking time. I guess Denmark. No, not Denmark. Wherever Geert Wilders is at. That might be the Netherlands. Geert Wilders has took over, and they're finally getting a grip on it. The problem is they already let so many motherfuckers in by the millions, and they're already starting to outbreed the Europeans. That means when they deport these motherfuckers, they're going to have to take their kids with them, and then they're going to have to deny the kids who were born here citizenship status in the EU, just like we're going to have to do here in the United States. You know, that's going to be the next big fight, guys. They're waiting after the new year. But the Supreme Court is going to listen here real soon about birthright citizenship here in the United States. And if they rule correctly, then a lot of these kids born, a lot of these anchor kids born to illegal immigrant parents are going to have their citizenship revoked. Because it was quite clear that they bastardized the meaning of the amendment. But it's quite clear that at least one of your parents has to be an American. You can't have two foreign nationals coming over and dropping a kid, and that kid becomes a citizen automatically, and then they can bring everyone over. It can't be allowed. That is literally how we're going to get a Manchurian candidate running for president in 30 years from now. We are literally going to have a Chinese foreign national with an American birth certificate running for president, and they're going to have communist money behind them for the campaign. And they're literally going to try to run a goddamn Chinese communist or something like a Mamdani to run for president, because you have to be a natural-born citizen of the United States to run for president. It's the only stipulation we have. And that needs to be changed too. We need a constitutional convention, like stat. We should not have foreign nationals in our federal government, period. They should not be politicians. Ilhan Omar should not be qualified to be a representative. And she's not the only one. And I'm sorry, some of the Jewish guys in there, that includes you too. No more dual citizenship. No more dual citizenship. You are American. only if you're serving as a politician. Period. I'm sorry. Whether I like where you're from or not, it doesn't matter. You have to be an American only to be a politician here in the United States. You cannot have dual loyalties. It just cannot be allowed. Well, I'm sorry. If you're going to run for office, Feline, you should have to renounce your Israeli citizenship and just be American only. Yeah. Obviously, we have dual citizens running around, right? But I'm talking about specifically running for federal office. States, they have their own regulations. All right? That's the whole point of having 50 sovereign states. But I'm talking about federal. At that level, you should be American only. That's fine. Just don't run for federal office. It's a pretty simple solution. I mean, Ted Cruz, he had dual citizenship when he was running in 2016. But he gave up. He renounced his Canadian citizenship. He became American only, so he could run for president, as he should have. Well, that's just how I would run things. You should, in the federal system, you should be American only. That needs to be changed, because what happens is what happened with Ilhan Omar. You have a relatively small block of foreigners coming in, congregating, and creating a voting block in one area, one region. And because our elections are so balanced on an equilibrium between Democrats and Republicans, it doesn't take much of an outside influence to drop, say, 100,000 or 80,000 people in one area to change the voting dynamic and the political structure of the entire area. That's the problem. And they shouldn't even be here in the first place. But the Democrats allow it to happen because, again, they're in on the fraud. Because they're able to launder the money from the taxpayers to these bullshit companies. And these bullshit companies bring in more people from the outside, and they make massive donations to the Democrats, thus making a vicious cycle. They're going to get Walz's ass. He's been mouthing off a lot. They're going to get hit. They're going to nail his balls to the wall. Yeah. I know, Lisa, and I like Cruz too, but I was really disappointed. Yeah, I really don't have. I know Fuentes is really hard in the pain on the Jews in Israel. I honestly, I could give a shit. I mean, I support them because they're an ally of ours, right? And I stand by backing up your allies. Like, we have an actual treaty with them, right? They're the only ones that I'm aware of in the Middle East. And out of all the countries in the Middle East, they're the most like-minded as we are here in the United States as far as how our government structure and voting and all that. So, I don't like all the bullshit they get us involved in. That's got to stop. And they do seem to have an undue amount of influence. A lot of what's going on over here. And I think that's causing a lot of resentment and anxiety with all the shit going on right now. And again, that Shlomo guy, the Israeli billionaire, tech billionaire, with government contracts, is out there mouthing off about restricting our free speech rights. It's not a good look. It's going to piss. It's just going to add gasoline to the fire. All right, well, all the other shit going on, you know, us having to go in with Iran, and now Iran's involved in another revolution. I hope they can depose the Ayatollah. I don't know if they can or not. We'll see what happens. But having this guy mouthing off about American civil rights is not a good look. It just isn't. Yeah. Yeah, no. I got a guy named Kid. He always bitching about. He's a flat out leftist, and he's always griping about the oligarchs. Yeah, I don't have so much of a problem with the oligarchs, to be perfectly honest. We all have our roles to play in the economy and in society, right? These are people that made it or were born into it, and they were raised in the system to lead and to generate an economy. And I want competent people, and I want captains of industry running their industry. You know, as long as they don't run afoul of the Constitution and the law in general. I don't care if they got money. I don't care. And they provide jobs. You know, so it's you're not going to get a poor. I never got a job. I never had a job given to me by a poor man. You know what I mean? So we all have a role to play. Mine is to be a worker bee out here with this truck, and it is what it is. As long as I can be afforded to make a respectable living, where I can raise my family and live in it doesn't have to be a goddamn mansion, and it's not. I just put a lot of work into my house actually, but as long as I can have a little peace of mind, and then maybe I can save enough aside so I can give it to my son when I fall off the earth, then whatever. Maybe in the next life I'll be the next Elon. Who knows? Even better if there's not. Honestly, the whole idea of being reincarnated over and over and over again, it seems kind of hellish in a kind of way, having to redo this shit over and over and over again without learning the lessons from the previous lives. You have everything to do over and over and over again. It would suck tremendously. So I'm not even sure I would even be looking forward to an afterlife, to be perfectly honest. I think when I'm done with this, I think it's going to be done. Fade to oblivion. I won't know any better. Don't give a shit. At that point, you're done. Your thoughts are over. Your cares, your desires, everything holding you back, your entire existence just gone. Poof, gone. I don't know. There's something a little bit liberating about that, to be honest. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Well, I could save that for another discussion. I'm just bitching about what's going on. So we can get metaphysical later. But I do like some of the topics like that. It's snowing. Shit, dude. I'm sorry. Not here. I'm out here in shirt sleeves. I got delayed. Normally I'd be able to get home tonight, but I got delayed. These motherfuckers got to start pre-tripping their shit. I picked up a trailer and it had a leak in the air line to one of the brake chambers on the trailer. So I had to take time out of my day to go get it fixed, and that delayed the whole rest of my week. So whatever. But it gives me more time to yap with you fine people. It's pretty cool. Oh, did I miss DJ? If they become one, I'm moving there. Oh, there you are. If it's ruled by a Muslim, can I still get a kebab? Oh my God. Yeah, Canada's got their own immigration problem. There's a lot of Indians in Canada from what I heard. I heard an interesting stat. Every country on the planet can receive 2 million Indians. Like from India, not a feather. 2 million. Every country. India would still have over 1 billion people in it. Isn't that fucking outrageous? That's crazy to think about. Every country gets 2 million. Like right now, here, 2 million here, 2 million here, 2 million here, 2 million here. And they still have over 1 billion people. Yeah, well, I mean, when you understand what the end game is, man, they talked about that's the whole point of what NAFTA was, and now the USMCA. That's why Trump is going after Greenland. That's why we're fucking with Mexico right now. That's why he's fucking with Canada right now. The goal, and it's gonna have to happen, guys. The goal is to make the North American Union, just like the EU started in the 70s as an economic treaty or pact between all the European countries, to where it formed the EU is now today. It started off just like NAFTA. And Canada is most closely resembles us as far as a society goes, so they would be the easiest to integrate. Mexico, it's a failed narco state right now, but that's why Trump is fucking with them, and Venezuela and all that, because we can't allow Mexico to become part of the North American Union without getting order restored. So it's not happening by accident. This is what the plan is. We are going to become the North American Union, from Mexico all the way up to the Yukon territory. It's going to be one territory, just like Europe. We're going to be just like Europe. Well, I mean, that's the goal, Feline. It's look, the EU was the test case. I mean, I'm telling you, it started off in the 70s, just like we did with NAFTA in the 90s. We're only 20 years behind the EU. It was just an economic free trade agreement, and they formed the EU, and now they're one nation. And we're going to have to do it to compete with the EU in China, because China is going to have the BRICS. So you have the EU, you're going to have the BRICS countries, and then we're going to have the North American Union to stay competitive. It's inevitable at this point. Well, it's because, yes, it is failing now, but it wasn't in the beginning. It's failing now because the wrong type of people got into power, the globalists, and they just threw their borders open because their ideology is fucking retarded. You know? Systems like that, quasi-socialist systems like that, only work when you actually have border control. When you open the world, when you allow the third world to flood in your interior. Now you have too many takers in the system, and that's not good. And they're already feeling the pressure on that anyway, because we're forcing them to pay more money for their defense spending, as they should have been for a very long time with NATO. There's too many gold workers over there. The only reason a lot of these socialist and quasi-socialist countries have all the gives me that's is because they don't have defense spending. If they actually had to pay for their own protection, they wouldn't have the free college, health care, and everything to go along with it. It wouldn't exist. They wouldn't have the money for it. They've been gold bricking off the American taxpayer for too long. That's why Trump went after them for the pharmaceuticals in the beginning. He doesn't get enough credit for that, guys. You're going to see the pharmaceutical rates, our drug prices, plummet here in the next month or so because of what Trump is doing with the. He went directly to the pharmaceutical companies. He's like, look, you guys are going to drop your prices here in the United States, like drastically. And if you got to double what they pay in the EU, so be it. But this is not going to happen anymore. And you know what they did? They bent the fucking knee and they kissed his fucking foot and say, yes, sir. So you're about to see a drastic reduction in pharmaceutical prices here in the United States. And it took a Republican to do it. It's crazy. What's up, Terry? No, it's not. No, it's not. The EU's scared shitless of Russia right now because they don't have a military. I mean, the top militaries in the EU right now are France, the French. You're going to rely on the French to defend you? Come on, man. Probably then Italy, and then, I don't know, Poland. Poland has been buying a lot of shit here lately for defense. Because Poland's got a big axe to grind. Because like a lot of these Eastern European bloc countries, they were under Nazi control and then communist control. They hate them both. They're like, we ain't playing this game again. We've seen this. We've seen this. We've seen this too many times. We're not allowing it to happen again. I still think that's how we go in and fuck with Russia. I still think that there's going to be some kind of false flag event where it looks like Ukraine's about to fail. They're gonna take some Russian ordnance that was abandoned in the field, and they're gonna lob it over Poland and say it came from a Russian sortie or something, and that's like a missile or some bullshit's gonna hit Warsaw or something, and it's gonna send the fucking Poles into a frenzy, and then the article will be enforced for NATO, and then we're going to send troops in. I still think that's how it's going to happen. It's going to be some kind of false flag that's going to something along those lines. It's going to be an incursion of Belarus, because Belarus has already been fucking around with the Poles right now too, because that's where you had the last of the Wagner group. You know, the Pelosi got yeeted off the planet. These guys didn't just vanish into the ether to look at Belarus, and they've been fucking with the Poles. They've been a lot of border incursions. They're fucking with each other, and it won't take much to set the Poles off to go fuck them out. Well, technically, so is feline, right? Or he's half foreigner. But no, the EU's not doing fine. You are drastically losing the demographics war. You're allowing yourself to be swept over by the Islamic horde, and your civilization is about to die. Europe, as you know, is about to cease to exist, and it's going to happen over here too if we allow it. If we allow it. Fortunately, we still have an ocean between us and the Islamic world, whereas they share a land bridge over, through Turkey up in Europe proper. So, I thought you guys would have learned your lesson with the Dark Ages. I thought you would have learned your lesson because you guys fought like hell to get rid of the Muslims out of Europe, and then Spain, like damn near 800 years of Moorish control, and it took the Reconquista to kick their asses back to North Africa. And it's funny when you did that, when you took control over your land again, you had the Renaissance. Strange how those coincide. Huh. Makes you think. You get rid of the oppressive religious forces, and then society flourish with the arts and education. Might be something to it. I'm telling you, DJ. I'm telling you. I am waiting. I am waiting. The DA in Washington State's already threatening people with hate crimes if independent journalists go over there and try to knock on doors on these Somali daycare centers. Or daycare centers? Because I guess there's a rash of people going out there knocking doors, which they are perfectly allowed to do. But that motherfucker is promising to file hate crime charges against these people. And then they've already gotten a response from DC saying, well, if you choose to go that route, we will force you to answer to us for violating the First Amendment. So tread carefully, Washington State. That really happened. That really happened. So it'll be interesting to see who backs down first on that. It'll be interesting to see if they actually try to charge any of these people to go investigate fraud, which is perfectly lawful. You don't need a warrant. You don't need any of that shit to go knock on a door and ask a question. Now, if they ask you to leave, or they were going to order a trespass, that's fine. But if these people are out in public and you're asking them questions while they're walking down the street or at the local grocery store or whatever, that's also perfectly lawful. Just saying, it's not a hate crime to ask questions. And all they're asking is, hey, how do I get to enroll in that daycare? It says right here, your taxpayer-funded daycare, your license is in order and your operation. How do I want an application because I have a child and I want to enroll in your daycare. You have every right to ask that. That's not harassment. They have a business. It's taxpayer-funded. It's supposed to be legitimate. You know, and if they won't allow you to enroll because you're not Muslim, you're not Somali, well, guess what? That's a civil rights violation. They just committed a racism. They just made a racism. And that has its own ramifications on top of the bullshit they got going on. I don't know, DJ. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Look, I know people want a lot of action. I know they want her to do a lot of shit. See, this is one of the reasons why the Republic is going to fail. It's too slow. It doesn't have the alacrity and the full brunt of force that the people desire to fix the situation in the moment. Right? Bondi, even being the DA, still has to follow procedures within the law, the justice system. And our justice system is slow on purpose. And just like in Star Wars, and just like in Rome, they're going to vote in a dictator that won't be constrained by the Constitution, because the Constitution will no longer exist. And then they will go and get shit done. And they will. In the beginning, it will absolutely happen, and it will happen with a quickness. Absolutely. Everything that's on the major issues will be rectified with quickness. It's just later on down the road where it becomes a problem. But the Republic will die with a thunderous applause. Well, you know, honestly, I'm of two minds by that. I am a patriotic American. But there's too many enemies within that are trying to destabilize our system because there are too many loopholes for them to take advantage of. So we may just need a patriotic person to come in and seize control and then fix everything. These issues don't happen with the new monarch or dictator. It's like we had a good run. Yeah, we had some good ideas. Unfortunately, just like most republics, they rot from within. Ours is no exception. It's time to knock it down and rebuild it again. And this time, no loopholes. We're just going to have one good person in charge, and if you don't do what you're told, well, then they're just going to, hang you. We're not going to worry about these rights. If we have too many people from one area that we don't want in the country anymore, we're not going to go through the process of asking them to leave. We're just going to affix the bayonets go in there door to door, and then we're going to force them out and drive them into the sea from which they came. It would not be the first time in history that this has happened. Another good example would be when the Greeks took Greece back from the Turks. The Turks had conquered parts of Greece for well over 100 years in some areas, and then when the Greeks finally took control of their land, the Turks weren't there anymore. Same thing with Spain. The Moors did not stay in Spain after 800 years of rule, guy. 800 years, and they took Spain back, and yeah, they got rid of the Moors. They've been there a long fucking time. They were there so long that they turned the white people to mocha color. That's the reason why the Spaniards are brown now, because of 800 years of Moorish rule. Otherwise, they would have been white as any Frenchman or British or German or all that, because they were European. They had fixed the bayonets, and they went door to door, and they got rid of. As a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons why they had the Inquisition. It wasn't just to get rid of the heretics that weren't Catholic. It was also to get rid of the old Moorish sympathizers from the old system, and to do away with them because they were potential threats to the new monarchy. Dictator me, daddy. Well, I mean, that's the way we're headed, right? It's not necessarily the future I want, but that is the way we're headed. And if we have too many subversive elements in our system, i.e. the Democrats, that refuse to follow the rule of law, I mean, the whole concept of a sanctuary city and state it's open sedition is what that is. It's nullification of the federal powers. You are harboring people that are federally not allowed to be here, and you're offering them shelter and legal funds and representation. You're an impediment on the removal of these people. And whether you like Trump or not, he still has the will of the people behind him in this regard. And it's going to get to the point where if they don't do what they're supposed to do to show subservience to the federal government in regards to immigration, they will be thrown in. Trump is not fucking around. He will throw them in jail. He's going to give them literally enough rope to hang themselves with. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Walz when he's testifying in front of Congress, because it's one of two things: is either he actually is a retard, or he's in on the fraud. So either he's grossly incompetent, or he's uber corrupt. Those are the choices in front of us right now as far as Walz goes as governor of Minnesota. Either one is not good. And Minneapolis is right next to St. Paul. I mean, this is literally in his own backyard. And it's not a good look, like, at all. I've never heard one solid good argument about labor and harvesting. Yeah, that's all it is. The businesses are in on it because they want the serf labor, they want the second-class citizen. You know, a worker that can't unionize, that can't bitch about working conditions, and will cry to OSHA about unsafe conditions and whatnot. And then the Democrats want the census. They want the population for the census so that they'll be overrepresented in Congress, and that way their state has more clout than it actually should. Yeah, and it's a double whammy. And then some of these businesses, they pay off the Democrats, and it's just, that's its own circular firing squad. Yeah. So, yeah, it does. They say, oh, illegals can't vote. Well, yeah, there seems to be a lot of voting going on with illegals in California and New York State. like in city and state elections. They absolutely have started allowing, they've started issuing them driver's licenses. That's illegal. And you saw what they've been trying to do to our trucking industry. And there was some news to that. I think I shared that on my community page. I don't know if you guys read that or not. But Duffy came out saying, no, January 4th is the deadline for California. And if you guys do not decertify these 17,000 drivers that should not have CDLs, Gavin Newsom, we're going to withhold a shit ton of money from California just from the DOT. Other agencies will get involved. And then at the same time, the Pajeets over there have come together to file a class action suit against Newsom because they said, we need 2 more months. And Duffy's like, I'm not giving you 2 more months. And then Newsom's like, I'll give you 2 more months. And Duffy's like, no, you're not. So we have some open rebellion going on in California right now. And it's just a couple of more days away before Duffy drops the hammer on Newsom's head. And again, that's just DOT. Other agencies will get involved, and they will start clawing back massive amounts of funding from California. Just as Trump just clawed back $500 million from Minnesota because of the daycare bullshit. It's like, you know what? Federal government's not sending any more money for daycare in Minnesota, period. Whether you're legitimate or not, until we figure this shit out. Funding has stopped. And Walz is shitting a brick. And that's why he's getting summoned in front of Congress next week. And he's going to have to explain this to the good people of the United States of how he has fucked this up so bad. Why Minnesota has effectively doubled the GDP of fucking Somalia. And we have traced that money going to fucking Al-Shabaab, which is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, who also is right now destabilizing Nigeria, which we just bombed recently because the goddamn Muslims are killing the Christians over there. Like genocide levels. And that's all being funded by the good taxpayers of Minnesota. Straight up. It's horrifying. Yeah, Minnesota is great. All of our states are great. Every one of our states are awesome. Love them all. Yeah, it's just we have a socialist Marxist influence that's running through our country right now, and it's being funded by overseas agitators, namely China and Russia. They have propagandized our population against us, which was the plan all along, because they know they can't take us in a direct fight. They just can't. The only way to take down the United States is from within. And that's what they're doing. Antifa is an organized, funded institution. It's just in a splinter cell situation, just like a goddamn terrorist organization, just like Al-Qaeda and all these other ones. They're splinter cells, but they absolutely have a leadership. They are funded. And thank God Trump labeled them as domestic and international terrorists so we get to deal with their asses. And he also has the balls to take on the cartels. A lot of people don't like it. I don't give a shit. Even some other guys like, oh, it's when it's running drugs, it's a police action. Fuck your police action. Fuck your police action. Fentanyl is a scourge. Drugs are bad enough, but fentanyl is that's a no-go. Period. It's the potential. It is so devastating, and it takes such a small amount to kill mass quantities of people. I mean, it's not just in drugs. I mean, you could sprinkle that in the water supply. You can have one asshole go dump that in a vat at a meat processing plant. You mix it up with all the hamburger and shit. And also you got trace amounts of fentanyl, but that's all you need to kill somebody. Just trace amounts of fentanyl in your fucking meat. That one disgruntled employee goes in there and sprinkles in the fucking vat, and it gets mixed in with all the other bullshit. Guess what? You're all fucking dead. That's all it'll take. They dump it in a beer vat, soda, or whatever. It doesn't take much, guys. It is a legitimate weapon of mass destruction. You go dump that in a fucking water supply at one of our water treatment plants, or watch how many people fucking die because they took a drink and had a glass of water in the middle of the night. Right? You get up in the middle of the night, you go take a piss, and you need a glass of water before you go back to bed. Guess what? That water in your tap was just fucking laced with fentanyl. You didn't even fucking know it, and you're dead. Right there. Done. That's how fucking risky this shit is. And people aren't taking it as serious of a threat as it should be. It depends where along the line that it goes to, man. It doesn't take much. It does not take much at all. And even if you don't die, you're going to be very sick. And at the very least, you may have some of your internal organs fucked up. It does not take much, man. You're talking about they're not bringing in they're bringing in uncut shit. They're bringing in pure fentanyl. It does not take much, man. You have motherfuckers getting high at a daycare, right? A trace amount from whatever shit they were smoking landed on the carpet. A toddler fucking crawled over that like a week later and he fucking died because there were still trace amounts of fentanyl from whatever the fuck they were fucking with. That little kid died because a little residue got on the carpet and the kid was rolling around playing on it. Yeah. I will if you do, Feline. I don't know. I know you're Jewish, but I don't know if that makes you a practitioner. Are you a Messianic Jew? Are you a Christian Jew? I don't know. Never talked to you about that. I know you celebrate Hanukkah, but I don't know what Messianic Jews, if they celebrate Hanukkah along with Christian holidays or not. I have no idea. That's not talking about this in the 80s. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, XKGB. Yeah, he was supposed to take down India, but it turned out he liked the Hindus, so he came to the United States. That's what I'm saying, man. That Marxists are an existential threat. That the socialists are a threat to the United States and American way of life. People give me a lot of shit for that, man. There's a couple guys that consistently break my balls in my chat about it. They are a fucking threat. You need to take them seriously. They want to destroy our country. They think they got the answer for all that ails us. And unfortunately, their ideology is one of failure, starvation, famine, in other words. Abject misery, poverty. It doesn't work. Every fucking time, it does not work. It always winds up like the Khmer Rouge or the goddamn Mountain of Skulls. It is a failed ideology. At this point, as many times as it's been tried to be implemented, and it has the same fucking result, the only conclusion I can come up with is that these are evil people. When you have something that looks good on paper, but every time it's put into action results in catastrophe, and you think you're going to do it right this time, and it never gets done right, it's evil. It's tried and true. It's a fucking evil ideology. Stalin was a true believer in Marxism, and look what he did to the Soviets. It's an unmitigated disaster. The only reason Stalin had any kind of clout after World War II is because the United States basically single-handedly created the Soviet fucking industrial complex by selling him our intellectual property and sending all of our machinery over there because he was a good ally against the Nazis. If it wasn't for us building the Soviet industrial complex, they would still be backwards farmers holding pitchforks. Because the Soviets went in there and they killed off all the fucking elites and intellectuals. Well, they just left the peasants. You know who else did that? The Haitians. Look at Haiti. No, China's not doing fine. China's a fucking dumpster. China is a Potemkin village. Do you know what Potemkin is? I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm being for real. Do you know what I'm talking about? When I'm talking about Potemkin village or Potemkin army. It's a facade. It's fake. They look good marching up and down the parade grounds, right? Marching in unison. They got the nice uniforms. And they clean up the area. You know, they put a fresh coat of paint on shit. It makes it look. But in reality, it's a dump. You know, China just here recently with the New Year's celebration. One, they had a, you could not go out there and participate in the New Year's Eve countdown. They did not permit it. They would not allow a countdown. And then they showed everyone doing the fireworks around the world, and then they showed China. They're showing these drones going up in the air, and you got these fucking horses running around because it's the year of the horse over on the Chinese zodiac. And they're showing like, oh yeah, you got this horse running around the sky. It's all bullshit. There's other video footage that was leaked from like actual the news at the time over in China at that same place. None of that shit was going on. They didn't even have fireworks. They had nothing. It was literally computer overlay graphics with the fucking drones and the horse running around in the goddamn sky as a drone show. That didn't happen. It wasn't real. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. There's videos all over the place. China had substituted a lot of fucking building material with styrofoam, like on the bridges and railings and whatnot. You see the Chinese going up there, it's like they're picking at it, it's fucking flaking off because it's fucking styrofoam. They just painted it. They painted it, make it look like stone. It's goddamn styrofoam. It's bullshit. China's got a lot of problems right now, and the reasons why they didn't want the guys out there participating in the New Year's countdown is because they're afraid of too many people getting together in mass right now. Because China's not doing so great in their economy. They're really suffering right now because with the tariffs, they are hurting bad. That's why Xi is out there trying to saber rattle with Taiwan right now to get some of the heat off of them. So he's trying to flare up some national Chinese pride to go take on Taiwan. I got news for you. Taiwan ain't going that easy. They're one of the most advanced civilizations on this planet. And if you don't think they got fucking drum swarms on top of drum swarm technologies to take on an invading Chinese force having to go across 100 miles of fucking open water to their island, you out of your goddamn mind. If little Ukraine could hold out this long against Russia, and they share a landmass, Taiwan with Japanese and American technology and equipment, trying to cross 100 miles of open water to land on Taiwan, you out of your fucking mind. They'll drum storm every one of those goddamn Chinese vessels trying to get across and sink them motherfuckers right there in the Straits of Taiwan. Yeah. 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 Damn support this cabin. I think you're wrong on that one, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I'm not thrilled with the idea of having to go defend Taiwan, but because of the technology over there, it is too valuable to fall into Chinese hands, Chinese communist hands, right? It's too valuable to fall in their hands. So, unfortunately, yeah, we would get involved. Because it would be game over at that point. Until at least we have enough facilities over here where we've brought enough of the Taiwanese technology here to the United States and their scientists and whatnot, and have replicated their infrastructure from over there to here. But, you know, We're in the process of doing that, but it's not done yet. Which is precisely why Xi is looking to up the timetable on the invasion. Okay, I'm in a hotel where all staff and residents are not white. Well, where are you at? Are you in a white country? Or are you Europe, Australia? I guess it depends where you're at. Could be California. No, they're not. Dude, it's bullshit. Yes, they make products cheaper, but the quality is not there. Their batteries explode on the regular. Their solar panels are, it's a bad technology anyway, to be honest. Solar and wind power are garbage. That's why they don't even use it. They don't use that shit over here. We do it here in Texas. We got fucking windmills all over the goddamn place in West Texas. But they don't use it over there because it's bullshit technology. You can't even recycle the fucking wind blades. Whatever the wind blades are made out of, they're so toxic they can't even put them in landfills. They literally have to be above ground rotting for eternity. And those blades have to change out like every 5 years. It's bullshit. Well, I mean, oh, you're in Edinburgh. Oh yeah, fuck. You're in the middle of Scotland. Vote reform. That's all I gotta say. You better vote for reform whenever your elections happen. And I can't remember when you're having the vote, but I don't know how much longer Starmer his term is. But whenever you get a chance to vote for Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, I suggest you go out and do it. It also depends where you live. It works better in California, not so well in Germany, as the Germans found out. Who knew? But there's still a lot of problems and not as effective. What they really need is we need nuke power, honestly, especially with the advent of all the AI data centers coming around. We're going to be prioritizing those data centers because we're in an AI arms race right now. So if there's not enough power to go around, the AI centers are going to get it. You're going to be dealing with brownouts. So yeah. We need nuke power. Nuke power is the safest and most efficient power we have. And the whole bullshit with Chernobyl and then 3 Mile and scared off a lot of people. And then, fantasy and sci-fi. It's like, oh, you got the green goo, it's going to mutate you. And then you have like The Simpsons, you're going to have like a 3-eyed 4-gilled fish or whatever the fuck. Nuke power is actually pretty safe. It was, but that was because we had a freak winter storm where the entire state fucking froze over at one time, and all the power plant lakes froze up, and that's why the power plants stopped, because the lakes that go into the plants froze all at once. I've lived in Texas most of my life. I had never seen anything like that. That was crazy, absolutely bonkers. Don't know if it's ever going to happen again. But then again, I wasn't expecting to deal with a freak snowstorm where fucking New Orleans and Florida got more snow than fucking Chicago last winter. Not this one, but last winter. That was some crazy shit. I was down there in the palm trees going between Houston and Brownsville, dealing with fucking ice and snow, and it was fucking clear as a whistle over there in the fucking Chicago. It's like, this is like 8 inches of snow in the French Quarter in New Orleans. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, Blinky. Well, yeah, but luckily we live on a water planet, so we have water in abundance. You know who has a lot of nuclear power and is not going through this bullshit? The French. The French are like, ooh, nukes, we want all of it. And they have plenty of power over there. They can't control their borders, but at least they got the electricity. Yeah, unfortunately, seems like a lot of the Anglo states are going totalitarian, unfortunately. There are some people trying to push back. I don't know as much about Australian politics. I know you got some fucking weaselly looking prime minister down there in Canberra. I can't remember his name, but he fucking it's a little short guy, a little doofus short guy with glasses, like the round horn rim glasses, and he has like a little squeaky voice. If you're not drinking a French wine in the bathtub, probably in a crystal decanter. No, we are going hardcore authoritarian because the globalists see that their power is starting to slip a little bit. They're freaking the fuck out, so they're doubling down, and they're going to authoritize harder to prevent what they see as a threat from the far right. Now, all these people even know what far right would mean. People get labeled as fascists and far right. These people wouldn't know what fucking fascism was if Mussolini was fucking teabagging them. I'm sorry. They have no idea what fascism is. They have zero idea. And then I sit there and I try to debate some of these guys. I'm like, to us Americans, World War II was essentially a fight between two left-wing ideologies. And he tried to explain the historical facts about the origins of fascism. It was created by fascists, or by socialists, ardent socialists, and they just thought socialism didn't go hard enough. So it's basically just socialism with a nationalist bent, literally National Socialism. They weren't Marxist socialism. And there's many different flavors of socialism, just like there's many different flavors of capitalism and any other ideology. So they weren't Marxists, but they were socialists. And that's why they were fighting the Bolsheviks so hard, because the Lenin, Stalin had just taken power then, right? They saw what happened with Lenin and the Bolsheviks and what they did to the Tsarist Russia and the bullshit and all the hardships they went through and their revolution. And so a lot of these people are like, well, I like some of that, but not all of it, because some of that shit, like the class struggle and all that, we want to get rid of that shit, but we like it when the labor unions, the corporations, the state works together. We just don't need to massacre all the fucking elites. Because that's how you destroy an economy, because you get rid of all the people who know how to fucking run an economy and you kill them all. And who knew that a guy that was working in a shoe factory, or a peasant that was working in the goddamn barley fields, all of a sudden it's like, here you go, here's the key to the city, now you're the mayor, now you run things now, as if it's that easy. It's like, it's kind of like Pol Pot when he killed everyone with glasses and all the doctors and shit. It's like, dude, you were a horse farrier last week. Why are you with a stethoscope trying to get my temperature, with the anal thermometer? You're not a doctor. But that's what they did. Because they thought everyone was plug and play. No. Solar power is a marketplace up around $250 billion. Yeah, I understand it's big business, and there's a lot of subsidies for it. I'm just saying it's not a good technology. It's not efficient, right? But yeah, I mean, it'll grow by leaps and bounds if you subsidize it with government money. Anything will, even Somali daycares. Doesn't mean the daycares are actually doing what they're supposed to be, right? It's essentially what solar is. It's like a Somali daycare. On paper, right? It's being funded by the government, so it's supposed to work. But when you look into the technology, it's not that great. It's not doing what it's supposed to. But Europe has got this fixation on net zero, which is never going to happen. It's a stupid ideal to begin with. You need to abandon that shit. All those solar farms are impressive looking, but I don't think they actually generate as much power as you think. I'm sure. Yeah, and not only that, but it's also destroying the environment. I mean, all the birds, wildlife is already sparser in the desert climate, but these birds are seeing the shimmer of these solar panels, thinking they're pools of water, so they're coming down to get a drink, and they're getting barbecued. Just like a lot of these windmills are ginsuing these birds because they evolved to fly around the earth, but they didn't have big fucking wind blades they had to evade. So they're getting sliced and diced. Yeah, it's just, it's one of those things, it's like good intentions, but it's a bad outcome, right? We tried it, it doesn't work. Now, I'll be interested to see what they can do with fusion, because I know a couple of years ago, and it's been quiet here lately, but the last time I heard, there was a group in California that actually was able to get more energy out of a fusion chain reaction than they actually put into it to start the chain reaction. I have not heard from that in about 3 years now. So I'm interested to see if they've made more inroads. I would almost think they would have to at this point. But that's going to be a game changer. When they finally get fusion going, that's going to be a game changer. And then you won't have to worry about radiation fallout and all that other shit. That'll be a thing of the past. It will be abundant and much cheaper energy that'll be available. All right. Time is 8 o'clock. All right. I'm done. Thanks for being here. We'll have to do it again real soon. Appreciate you guys. You guys take care. TC out.